Let's check what's on the docket, our weekly visit with Lise Wheel from Fox News. Lise, welcome back to the show. Let's talk about the NCAA first.
Sure.
I understand there's a settlement agreement in some concussion lawsuit. Can you explain the case?
Sure. The NCAA has agreed to a cap of $75 million in settlement. That means that they are willing to pay up to $75 million to players that have been injured with concussions. They've also agreed to, in this settlement, and this is what I found absolutely astounding, they've agreed to, get this, players will not be allowed to return to action the same day they receive a concussion, and all players, coaches, and trainers will receive concussion education. Really? They haven't been doing this before now?
Wow.
It took a lawsuit to make this happen. Players can't return to the field on the same day. So what that means is that's been happening. And coaches need to receive some training. They haven't been before? I mean, it's absurd to me, but that's part of the settlement.
Yeah, I know this is not your bailiwick as far as being a medical expert, but doesn't it take a little bit of time to determine whether someone has suffered a concussion?
Absolutely. I've got two kids, one in college and the other in high school. They all play sports and soccer and baseball and stuff like that, and they've both had concussions. And it's right. You take them to the doctor. You have to, they watch them for a while, whether it's at home or at the doctor's, and it takes a while. Even then, it depends on whether
don't they get like a CAT scan?
Well,
stuff
hasn't
like
the NFL moved in that direction already?
Well, the
NFL.
Yeah, this is a different lawsuit. This is the NCAA. The NFL is doing they're doing a separate thing, and they're going to be looking at a huge payout as well. But aside from the money, guys, what I don't understand is exactly that wait a second, you're talking about, by definition, young people, people in their 20s, and they're being pushed before this to go out and play on the field. And by the way, the other part of the settlement is they've got to have a doctor trained in concussion diagnosis to be present for the games in football, soccer, and basketball. Again, that hasn't been available before.
So this court ruling forces the NCAA to put doctors now on the sidelines?
Yes. Well, it doesn't say sideline. It has to be available. I don't know if that's
there's got to be somewhere in locker room or something like that.
Something like that. They're around, and because these contact sports, it's going to happen.
Lise, do you know how many people were suing the NCAA?
It started with a bunch, and a dozen college athletes. Okay.
Before or after the NFL suit?
This started 3 years ago. So I think that would actually be before the NFL lawsuit. Yeah, I think that would be before. This has been going on for 3 years.
This may have sparked the NFL to do that thing. But is this $75 million cap for these people, or is it a $75 million cookie jar for anyone in the future that wants to?
Cookie jar, but what they also said is if you are an individual, you can file a separate personal injury lawsuit. So it's not over yet.
Okay. And what was the settlement that was proposed by the NFL? You guys remember?
Yeah, but it was a lot more than that.
It was like 10 times more, wasn't it? Like $700 million or something
right.
like that?
750, I think, is where we were last, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't have that number right in front of me right now, but I think, because I remember that the judge first turned down the settlement, and that was in the multiple millions of dollars, way more than $75 million. And then the judge came back and said, okay, your second offer is looking better.
Okay.
So it's a lot more money for the NFL.
Let's parse this even more. I think this was going to take up all of our time this morning.
Sure.
Okay. It's the NCAA.
Right.
It's a university, it's a college, it's a school.
Right.
And these are adults who voluntarily submit themselves to this sport. Nevertheless, it's a school that is taking care of these students. I guess you could kind of make an extension argument as a parent that, hey, you're supposed to be taking care of my kid, even though it's an adult kid. I don't know. You could go there.
Right. You're going to college.
Okay. And they're supposed to be caring for these people. I guess you could make that argument there. But on the NFL side, these are adult men who have subjected themselves voluntarily to this profession and make millions of dollars as a result.
They're not subjecting themselves to purposeful brain injury,
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Is they're not. If they're playing the game the way, and I know what I know about football.
But this isn't badminton. This is football, full contact sport. They should expect to be injured.
That's not necessarily
true.
When
the coaches go out there and say, "Hey, Joe, go out there and purposely butthead," and my term may be wrong there. Maybe it's not butthead.
No, well, it's happened. Ask New Orleans.
Headbutt would be the other. Butthead is one of our favorite cartoon characters. No, I get you. Go ahead.
Butthead. But go out there and purposely do that, knowing that they're going to get injured, and that's per the coach's instruction, not per the game. It's illegal in the game to do that.
Yeah, to go purposely tell somebody to go out there and take him out, or
right. Exactly.
end his
That's my
career
point.
or something like that.
That's my point.
Physically.
That's my point. So yeah, you sign up for a contact sport. I mean, look, I watch Super Bowl. I can see they're big guys hitting each other, but you don't sign up for Beavis and Butthead.
All right, Lise, thank you much. Lise Wheel joining us on 710 KURV.